My teacher tells me we can grow up to be whatever we want.
I want to grow up to be someone who doesn't go to bed hungry.
There's enough food in this country to feed everybody.
Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help.
Every dollar you donate helps provide 8 meals for kids like me, quietly struggling with hunger.
Together, we are Feeding America, brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
It's time for WKU's Topper Tailgate on ESPN 102.7 and ESPN 1027.com. Live from Western Kentucky University. Topper Tailgate is brought to you by Dr. Pepper, Don Franklin Glasgow, U.S. Army, Southern States Bowling Green, United Rentals of Bowling Green, and Coca-Cola. Get an in-depth pregame look at WKU's matchup with Tyler and Lexi, plus lots of special guests at each home football game. Now to the South Lawn of Western Kentucky University on ESPN 102.7 and ESPN 1027.com.
And welcome into another Dr. Pepper game day here on the Hill. WKU opening conference play today. Lexi, as we get set for the Hilltoppers to take on undefeated UTSA tonight inside the house, 6 o'clock kickoff. You'll be able to listen to the broadcast here on ESPN Radio and on the flagship station, SAM 100.7 at 5 o'clock. We're with you up until that point here on Topper Tailgate on ESPN Radio 102.7. You can listen on the radio, on the website, the app. And Lexi, you can watch us on Facebook in 2 different spots at the ESPN Radio 102.7 Facebook page, the WKU Athletics Facebook page. We're all over the place.
We are.
With
so
today's show.
You're working out, you're at the grocery store, you're playing with your kids, you're driving in the car. You can listen to us wherever. Pretty cool.
We're glad to be with you. It's another great game day on the Hill. A little bit hotter than it was conveniently enough a few weeks ago when Indiana was here, but It's an exciting day as WKU does get set to open up Conference USA play against a really good UTSA team in a game in which, Lexi, you've heard Tyson Helton talk about it leading up to this one. Despite how tough that non-conference schedule was for WKU and all the big names on it, Indiana, Michigan State, Army, for this team, the season, and even coming into the year, this team knew it, the season really begins today for WKU.
It does. Like he said, it really doesn't matter that they haven't won that many games, and UTSA is 5-0 because UTSA's schedule was not as difficult. So he really believes that it's a starting over time for WKU. They're 0-0 in conference play. They just want to win this game and start off conference play on the right foot.
Well, looking back at last week for WKU on the road in East Lansing against a Michigan State team that is still undefeated, they're going to remain that way today as we'll look in a few moments at the games that are underway and that we have finals for in the top 25 around the country. WKU falling 48-31 on the road. Michigan State up to number 11 now in the AP top 25. Lexi, the story there, another slow start for WKU. They come out, only score 16 points in the first half. Michigan State hangs up 42. WKU plays much better in the second half. And for the entire game, Bailey Zappi at quarterback was, excellent once again.
Yeah, Zappi just continues to hit it out of the park. I mean, just this week he was named Conference USA Player of the Week, which is unreal and an incredible feat for him with the 488 yards at Michigan, 424 at UT, and 435 at Army. He already has 3 of the top 14 passing performances ever.
And we've had some good quarterbacks here.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good company to be in.
I know. I'm excited to see what he's going to get into tonight.
Well, he's going to need a big game tonight against the UTSA team that is receiving votes in that top 25. They do have some pretty good wins this season. Beat Memphis. They've got a win over MTSU that coming into last week didn't really seem like much, but then MTSU comes out and beats Marshall, the team that was picked to win Conference USA's East Division, a division that all of a sudden looks totally wide open for any team to pop up and claim. A big game happening today in Conference USA that's going to decide a lot. Florida Atlantic was picked number 2 in the division. They're facing off against a UAB team that was picked to win the West Division today. So interestingly enough, Lexi, a WKU team that maybe right now might be the favorite in the East Division, playing UTSA, who was picked as number 2 in the West. Then on the other side, we've got UAB picked number 1 in the West, FAU picked number 2 in the East facing off. potentially maybe some Conference USA Championship matchup previews if you're WKU. Maybe you hope not, because it looks like UAB might be the top team out of the West. I'm excited to see this game in particular because it's going to tell us a lot about how Conference USA is going to unfold.
I think so, too. And, we'll get to all of our predictions later in the game, but I do think WKU is going to get this one. But I'll save the details for later.
This is a UTSA team. We'll dive into more of it in our second segment with Jared Holland as he'll join us to break this one down. They run it well. Another elite running back that WKU is going up against in Sincere McCormick. He's just outside the top 10 in the country in rushing yards. Again, we'll talk more analytics, numbers, statistics with Jared Holland in our next segment. In our third segment, we're joined by Senior Associate Athletic Director Gina Stoll and Director of Student Athlete Career Development, Mackenzie Watson. And then a very special guest picker joins us in the final segment. Former Hilltopper football player and somebody that has become a very familiar name around the Hill, Tim Ford, will join us to make some picks. Greg Collins set pretty high standard when he came on. I don't know if he quite got up to Coco Darden levels of success with the picks, but I feel like we've been doing a pretty good job with those.
I think so, too.
Outside of you picking Wisconsin ever.
Yeah. And, I'm always with you, but it's always fun to get, new people in every time.
Yeah.
Not that I ever get sick of you, but, maybe a little bit.
Well, that's the show. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Tyler's leaving now. No, but let's talk a little bit about, UTSA and WKU matching up. They've previously only met one time, November 22nd, 2014, and WKU won 45-7 at home. That sets an amazing precedent coming into this game. Hopefully it'll be a similar thing playing out tonight. In that game, QB Brandon Dowdy completed 26 of 35 passes for 346 yards with 5 touchdowns. WKU scored the first 38 points of the contest and outgained the Roadrunners 466 to 234 overall. So I hope
those are a lot of good numbers.
Yeah, lots of good numbers. We want those tonight.
Well, and I told you before we went on the air for today's show, Lexi, that we got to be a part of history today, because this is only the third time ever that WKU has played at home on October 9th. I don't know why that matters. Maybe it doesn't to you, but to me it does. Because this has rarely ever happened. It hasn't happened since all the way back in 1982. WKU beat Youngstown State here inside the Houch. WKU hasn't played on October 9th anywhere since 2010, so they haven't even played on this date since they came to Conference USA. If you're wondering, they lost to FIU back in 2010. This is a historic day for WKU, at least in my book.
It sounds very historic, but I'm a bit curious. If you took every single day, how many times they played on each day? If you take October 10th, do you think they played tomorrow?
I would assume they've played more on the 10th than the 9th, because for some reason they just rarely play on this day. I don't know what we've got against October 9th.
Apparently something.
But there is a theme of just not playing here on this day. A good theme for WKU going in. I know a lot of people like to keep up with the jerseys that the Tops are rocking. Today going with the red tops, black pants, 9-3 in that combination since 2013. It's the first time we've seen it this year, so a little bit of a good vibe for WKU in that department. And another good statistic for WKU, small sample size, but the Tops 2-0 in Conference USA openers under Tyson Helton.
Let's go. Both those sound amazing. And I want to say one thing. I'm wearing a white shirt and black pants right now, but I'm changing into a red shirt and
so
black
you'll
pants
be matching
for sideline. Yeah.
Wow. You've got this thing down.
I do. I actually didn't even know they were wearing their red and black uniforms. So, I'm just psychic like that. And I'm going to say they're going to win. So that's going to happen too.
Well, I mentioned those were some good numbers for WKU. Yeah. I've got one number as we look at some scores across the country that I know you're going to like at the half. The Wisconsin Badgers, who I think are still your favorate team.
Oh,
I don't
know.
You've gone all over the place with this. They're up 10-0 at halftime over Illinois.
Wisconsin.
Well, at least you held up a W. We can accept that. We don't have to know who it's for or where it's from.
And they also wear red, too. So, perfect.
It all works out for you. You don't have to change much of the wardrobe, do you?
Nope.
Another big game in the Big Ten. Number 4 Penn State on the road at number 3 Iowa. Nittany Lions rolling early on, 17-3. They lead that ball game. 12.5 minutes left, second quarter there. A couple of finals from the Big Ten. Number 7 Ohio State beats Maryland 66-17.
Wow.
Number 11 Michigan State. I mentioned they were going to remain undefeated. They're now 6-0. They beat Rutgers on the road 31-13. Lexi, are you ready to hear how your other favorite team is doing? Because all of a sudden you're a Georgia Bulldogs fan.
Yes, go Dogs!
This is, for some reason, seemed to correlate with them winning and Wisconsin losing. I couldn't help but notice that.
Well, Wisconsin's winning right now, so maybe there isn't any
I don't know who
correlation.
you're cheering
We've
for
yet
today.
to prove it.
Regardless, number 2 Georgia up 17-3 on Auburn right now. On the road right now, Auburn does have the ball. 1:40 left, second quarter, driving at the Georgia 36.
Love to see it.
Boise State perhaps got number 10 BYU on an upset watch. I didn't realize the Cougars were ranked that high. They've just been gradually climbing as the weeks have gone on. 5-0, number 10 in the country. They trail to Boise State 17-10, 1:46 left before the half. Boise State with the ball in that one. At halftime, another upset alert. Syracuse at home leading number 19 and undefeated Wake Forest 21-17. Just before the half, number 24 SMU tied up on the road at Navy 21 apiece. The biggest score from early on today, number 6 Oklahoma comes back from a 38-20 halftime deficit against number 21 Texas in an epic rivalry game. They write another epic chapter in the history of that rivalry. They bring in a freshman quarterback off the bench, come back to win that ball game with a rushing touchdown from just over 30 yards out with 1 second left on the clock.
That is incredible.
I don't know if we'll get that good of a game tonight.
Yeah.
We're hoping for one in terms of result, but it was a dandy, and we had another dandy earlier today. Number 17 Ole Miss winning by a point against number 13 Arkansas. They win thanks to a failed 2-point conversion.
That's a bit of an
you were
upset,
getting
too.
You were getting a bit of a look at that one. I don't think anybody could believe that score.
I know, that's crazy.
Other top 25 score we have, it's, well, pretty believable. Number 20 Florida rolls over Vanderbilt 42-0.
Poor Tennessee. Poor Vandy fans.
Well, not poor Tennessee. I was going to say poor Brett Williams. He's standing close enough for me to mention that the Vols rolled his Gamecocks today. I won't mention the score just for his sanity.
Face, just so
he gave us a quick peek and then leaned back over. Yeah. We do have a new final from Conference USA. Marshall struggling once again, this time at home against Old Dominion. They go into overtime tied at 13 apiece. Just final, Marshall does escape 20-13 over the Monarchs. The favorites over in the West that I mentioned, UAB, they're up at the half on Florida Atlantic, 24-14. Liberty at home against that MTSU team, feeling good, just beat Marshall. Not looking good. They're down 24-7 at the half to a really good Liberty team. North Texas on the road at Missouri. They trail it right now 21-7. And one final from yesterday, Charlotte goes on the road. They move to 2-0 in Conference USA play early on. They win at 45-33.
High-scoring
against
game.
Florida International. There have been a lot of high-scoring games today. Did you notice that, Lexi?
Yeah, the 52-51. Wow, both teams are up there today.
Now, I will ask you before we get to Jared, do you think we're going to see a lot of points in this game tonight?
I think it won't be a low-scoring game, but it's not going to be a high-scoring game like in
that is quite
40s,
the safe
50s.
bet.
Yeah, it'll be right in the middle. Not too cold, not too hot. But no, I think it will be definitely a battle, and I think they'll both get points up on the board, but I don't think it'll be a blowout. It'll be tough and right in the middle, like I said.
Game kicks off at 6 o'clock tonight. Broadcast will begin at 5. One thing I want to touch on before we wrap this first segment, a lot going on the Hill right now outside of just football. This WKU football team will be on the road at Old Dominion next week, 2:30 kick next Saturday in that one, then on the road again the following week at FIU down in Miami. That game will kick off at 6 o'clock. Soccer just played last night, fell to Old Dominion 1-0, first Conference USA loss for the Lady Toppers since all the way back in October of 2019. They have been on quite the run from the spring now into the fall. Mm-hmm. Another team that's been doing the same thing, the WKU volleyball team, they picked up a sweep of Eastern Kentucky this week as Travis Hudson was able to even up his record in Richmond. I know he was hung up on the fact that it was one of the few teams that he had a losing record on the road against, Lexi, and it's because his only other match at Eastern Kentucky came in his first season at WKU all the way back in the mid-90s.
That is
so
crazy.
He's leveled that square.
Yeah,
that
he's
team
probably very,
continues
very
to roll.
happy about that.
And they've got a big matchup coming up next weekend, taking on MTSU, 100 Miles of Hate. We'll have both of those matchups on the Commonwealth family of stations. 100 Miles of Hate, no matter what the sport. Give it to me. I'll take all of it. 100 Miles of Hate, Moonshine Throwdown, and I'll even take a little bit of WKU UTSA here tonight inside the house. We'll break it down more next. Jared Holland joins us. We dives into this matchup. Can WKU play a little spoiler for the undefeated Roadrunners? If you ask Vegas, they're favored. ESPN's FPI, they're favored. We'll see how it plays out on the field. This is Topper Tailgate on ESPN Radio 102.7, the ESPN 102.7 app, and on Facebook, whether it's ESPN Radio 102.7 or on the WKU Athletics Facebook page.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fansville, a college football utopia. Fansville. Where the lakes are stocked with ice-cold Dr. Pepper. where the night sky is tinted with the amber glow of burning couches.
Majestic.
Where rivalries run deep and bandwagoning is a third-degree felony. It's a land flowing with nacho cheese and spicy mustard, where every dispute is settled by coin toss.
Nails never fails.
Every backside is calloused from years of bleacher sitting.
Buns of steel.
And every fan, regardless of race, creed, or alma mater, deserves the rich flavor of Dr. Pepper.
Delicious.
These are loyal folk who stay true to their coach through thick and thin.
Mostly thick.
Who lift their Dr. Peppers high and proudly proclaim, "This is our year," even though it probably isn't.
But maybe it is.
Return to glory this season with Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
The one fans deserve.
Grab some today.
At Don Franklin, we're more than a group of car dealerships. We're hardworking, everyday people of Kentucky. We strive daily to give 110% to our customers, our employees, and our families. We are committed to providing everyone with a safe and reliable vehicle, and we continue our tradition of supporting our local communities. At all 24 dealerships across Kentucky, we will treat you like family. Don Franklin Family of Dealerships, we are Kentucky.
Attention propane customers. Has your existing provider been hard to reach? Have you had questions that haven't been answered or experienced long wait times and been asked to reply and send emails for customer support? Don't waste any more of your time. Southern States Co-op in Bowling Green will take your call. They will even swap out your existing tank with no charge for removing your current tank. Southern States of Bowling Green is ready to serve your propane needs in Bowling Green and surrounding counties because empty is never an option.
It's summer. That means relaxing and sipping a drink next to the pool or barbecuing out with the buds, right? Not if you have a lot of projects to take care of. Get the right equipment for home or commercial projects with United Rentals of Bowling Green Summer Sale. Looking to buy? United Rentals of Bowling Green has over 100,000 new and used pieces of equipment ready to purchase for your home or business. From small hand tools to large dump trucks and excavators. Let United Rentals of Bowling Green help you keep moving on your project, big or small. If United Rentals doesn't have what you are looking for, they will find it for you. United Rentals of Bowling Green has a big inventory of equipment in stock and ready to buy or rent. United Rentals of Bowling Green at 203 Scotty's Way, across from Warren East High School. Contact United Rentals of Bowling Green at 270-796-3737. That's 270-796-3737. Back to the South Lawn and Topper Tailgate on ESPN 102.7.
Rolling on here on Topper Tailgate live from South Lawn here on ESPN Radio 102.7. Just to clarify some things, Lexi, we rattled off all the places we thought we were. I'll tell you for sure where we're at. ESPN Radio 102.7. I can tell you that for sure. 102.7 FM here in Bowling Green. You can go on the website, ESPNradio1027.com. We've got an app. Download it on your iPhone. It's just like the website. And then we're live on one Facebook page, ESPN Radio 102.7. We're also live on a YouTube page, ESPN Radio 102.7. There's so many different ways to find it. I'm not as good at technology as our guest now, Jared Holland. Jared, that sounds like a lot of places to find something, right? That's pretty good. I know you're a big tech guy.
There are. I mean, there's a lot of different opportunities to watch us on the South Lawn. Obviously, we want as many people to come out as possible. Join us on the South Lawn. Join us in the game. But if you can't, then certainly there's a lot of different chances to watch us on TV and on the radio.
Yeah, and you mentioned, so, you know, the lawn isn't looking as full as it has in the past because I believe it's fall break for all the schools out there except college students. And you were telling us a story before this.
Yeah, no, so
I was,
we were in Gulf Shores, Alabama this week. It's fall break for a lot of the local area schools and everything. And so I was sitting there on Saturday and waiting in line for dinner. And all of a sudden I hear Randy Lee's voice and I look around. I can't figure out where he is. He should be in East Lansing. And what it was is a group of Hilltopper alumni that were sitting there listening to the game, watching it on their phone. And so, you know, there may not be a ton of people here on the South Lawn, but I know there's a lot of people here in spirit.
That is so awesome. You're not even in the same state, but you can still hear Randy Lee.
That's right. The Hilltopper spirit goes everywhere.
I love it.
And you'll be able to hear Jared all game tonight on the broadcast. He's been helping out with the pregame show the first couple of home games, but now we got him in there the entire time. Jared, how pumped are you to be in full-time in the booth starting tonight.
I am so excited. I mean, this is such a fun team to call anyways, and so to get that opportunity to get up there and talk with Terry and Randy and be a part of that group, it's just going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully we get a win throughout of it. But no matter what, it's going to be a good time, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to miss you on the sidelines, though. He's always helping me on the sidelines, but that's all right.
That's right.
Well, let's talk about this matchup a little bit, not to give away all that you're going to hear from Jared Holland on the broadcast tonight. Jared, this is a UTSA team. The two things that stand out first, they run the ball well, and they're very, very tough on both sides of the ball.
They are. When you look at Coach Traylor, his whole philosophy is this triangle of toughness, and he really has pushed out with this team. It's his whole philosophy. He's a running back coach by default. That's where he came from. That's his background. And so the whole triangle of toughness is something that he's really pushed as a team. And what you'll notice is that for all the players that are in single digits, those are actually players that have been voted on by their teammates for exhibiting the most toughness on their team. And so, this is going to be a team that we know is going to be disciplined. They know they're going to be a tough team. They're going to be a hard-nosed team. It's going to be very different some of the teams we've seen so far just in the way that they play because they're very defensive-minded, very run-minded, and they've got a really good team behind them.
Yeah, and one thing I read and wanted to bring up was that they don't make many mistakes, and they play like veterans. How do you think this matches up with WKU, who we have seen make some mistakes that have cost them points in a game?
Yeah, the truth is that when you look at the turnover margin, they're +5, and they've had 48 points off of turnovers so far, and so that's something that we just got to be aware of. Now, Zappy's done a great job of protecting the football. We haven't had a lot of turnovers, but this is a game that we've got to have our foot on the gas. We've got to put points on the board. We can't have some of the mistakes that we've had in some of these other games. Now, granted, this is not a Big Ten opponent. They're a good team. They're a 5-0 team, but they're not a Big Ten opponent. So I really have a lot of confidence going into this game that we can, put the points on the board.
Yeah.
And you noted the most similar opponent on this schedule so far for UTSA would probably be Memphis, which I would say is up to this point the best win that they've got. Maybe name-wise, Illinois would be there. But that's a Memphis team that came out and jumped on UTSA early on. The Roadrunners come back, win it late. And it feels like WKU today needs to jump out and score early against UTSA because they just haven't been able to do that so far this season. Do you think there's going to be an opportunity there for WKU to do that tonight?
Tyler, that's a good point. We really put ourselves in the hole with several games, getting behind early and then having to come back. And so we want to avoid that if at all possible. That Memphis game is actually the only winning record that our team that has a winning record in their slate so far. And so, they haven't played the toughest competition. Certainly some of the teams we played have been harder, but they've been able to win. And that's ultimately what matters. When you look at Memphis went up 21-0 in the first quarter, and then UTSA was able to claw their way back and ultimately got that win. The difference in that game, ironically enough, was a field goal. UTSA hit one field goal, Memphis missed theirs, and they won by 3. So when you look at that, there's a lot of similarity. We can't do what Memphis did and let our foot off the gas start the game. We've got to keep that going, the entirety of the game.
Yeah, and kind of we brought this up before and mentioned that, but UTSA has had a very easy schedule compared to our schedule. Do you think that's an advantage, even though WKU is 1-3 on the season?
It certainly gives a lot of confidence to go into a game like this undefeated. At the same time, when you look at who we played and how well we played against them in Army, Indiana, and Michigan State, I still feel like our team has a lot of confidence, and I feel good about this game and how we match up against them. Again, they're a very defensive-minded team, but they give up a lot of passing yards, right? They're giving up close to 300 passing yards. Really where they've been the strongest is on the run game. And so if we can establish our passing game and do what we've done in some of these other games, I feel like we've got a really good chance here.
Well, their bread and butter is running the ball with star running back Sincere McCormick. He's averaging over 100 yards per game coming into today, was just outside the top 10 in the country in rushing. But I do want to ask you how you feel about what we've seen from him so far this year, Jared, because he's running the ball over 30 times a game, and he's only averaging around 4 yards a carry, so it's not like this explosive back like Walker that we just saw for Michigan State. They just use him first down, second down, third down. He is truly an every down back, and it's not like an every down modern NFL back that you think of that's involved in the passing game. He's just out there running the ball on every single down.
No, you're right. He's averaging right at 4.6 yards a game, and it really is that grind type of football. And really, again, the whole goal of their offense is to maintain possession. They're outlasting their opponents by over 5 minutes a game with time of possession. And so that's really the whole mantra of what they do. They really want to control the ball. They want to let their defense do their job and ultimately win the game through attrition, right? So that is very different than what the way we play. And so it really is a very interesting matchup in the fact that both teams are very dissimilar in the way that their play styles, are on the field.
quite simply, the question that I've got coming into this, when we talk about McCormick and their run game, the way I phrased it earlier in the week, I think on both sides of the ball, this game is more about WKU than it is about UTSA. So I can phrase this in just a few words. Is this the game WKU can stop the run?
We have to, right? I mean, the two things, if we really want to win this game, what we have to do is we've got to establish our passing game, play our game, get the points on the board, and then we've got to stop the run. We've struggled with that a little bit over the last few games. That's something we cannot have that same lapse against UTSA if we're going to win. But if we want to win this game, we've got to find a way to stop the run, and it starts with our defensive line, starts with our linebackers.
Well, the usual scenarios, Jarrett, so we'll run through them. We'll start with UTSA. We're not going to put them on the line for a pick, especially now when you're up in the booth the entire time. We can't do that to them.
We can't.
So we'll start with the scenario we're not rooting for, but we have to at least present it. UTSA wins this game if and why.
I would say, if you look at them winning the turnover battle, that's something that we've done a good job of protecting the ball. If they're able to get turnovers against us, they've shown that they can turn those into points. So if they can get turnovers against us, that's something we've got to be aware of. If they can keep our offense off the field, they can really slow us down and keep their offense on the field and do that grind type of football. We've done the best when we've played fast, when we can get on the field, score fast, get up quickly, and that's where we do very well. So if they're able to slow us down and grind us out, that's when we've got to be concerned.
We don't want that to happen, though.
Right.
So let's talk about the other scenario.
Yes, WKU wins this game if and why.
So first and foremost, our offense has to play like our offense is capable of playing. We've got to get the passing game going. If we can get the passing game going, I think we've got a chance in the run.
And do it early.
Again, we cannot get behind. So that was actually the second point. We really need to avoid getting behind early because we've shown that we can catch up, but it's a struggle, right? So if we can establish our passing game, do our thing on offense, and not get behind early, I think those are really the two major keys to winning this game.
I love it.
You thinking low-scoring or high-scoring game tonight, Jared? We've kind of gone back and forth. This Lexi said not high-scoring but not low-scoring, which is quite the take on that. But how do you feel this game is going to play out?
It's going to play high-scoring. I mean, 34 points is what they're averaging on offense, and so they can show that they can score. I really think at the end of the day, this is going to end up being a high-scoring matchup. They're going to do their best to slow us down, but I don't think they're going to be able to. I think Zappy and co are just too much in the groove right now, and I think this is a game that our defense breaks out and really shows that they can keep up the offense and keep the team off the scoreboard.
Yeah, and talking about Zappy, how do you think he is with managing all those different positions? Why do you think they work together so well?
Well, he's a leader. We talked about that last game. If you look at him coming off the field after every time of possession, he'll go out there and he meets with each position group. He really coaches them up. He's as much a coach as he is a player, right? And those are the best kind of players, are the ones that are your coaches as well. And so, he really exhibits a lot of leadership out there. He's going to the different position groups, and I think that's why. And I think the team resonates with that. They respect him. He's been here 1 year, and to get the amount of respect that he has from this team just shows the kind of leadership that kid has.
Yeah, that's what I've been thinking. It's so crazy. He's this transfer from HBU first year. This is game 5, and they already have that synergy. It's just incredible.
It is amazing to watch. The HBU players coming in that have just come in and really just established themselves, and again, not isolated themselves. They're a part of the team. You can watch them. The team chemistry is so much fun to watch. It really is a lot of fun to see them out there and playing well together and enjoying themselves.
You say he's almost like a coach out there on the field. Not to mention he calls almost all the plays offensively.
Well, you're right. I mean, when you look at him out there as a coach, I could see that being a career for him. I don't know what his plans are in the future.
I like the ring of Coach Zappy.
That's it. I mean, maybe
I know it's not as a golfer or a bowler. We've gone through all this. He said he's a bit of a gamer, which is in our neck of the woods, Jared. But maybe some Coach Zappy, possibly.
If he doesn't make it in the NFL, and who knows, he's such a good quarterback, he's got a chance.
The Senior Bowl's got their eyes on him.
That's
if I were an NFL team, I'd have my eyes glued onto Bailey Zappy. And let me tell you where your ears should be glued. Sam 100.7, the flagship station for our Hilltopper football broadcast. 6 o'clock kick. Broadcast starts at 5. We'll be with you until then. Until then, Jared's got to head up to the booth and get ready to break this thing down. Jared, really appreciate you as always taking the time to stop by, and good luck tonight filling in the booth. That's going to be such an awesome opportunity, and man, I know you're going to make the most of it.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully we get a win at the end of the day, but we'll see what happens. Go Tops.
Yes.
We'll take our second break. When we come back, we're going to take a dive more so into some student-athlete development and take a look past what we just see on the field and on the court for these WKU student athletes. That comes your way next, right here on Topper Tailgate on ESPN Radio 102.7, the ESPN 102.7 app, and on the ESPN Radio 102.7 Facebook page.
And we're back with breaking news. The new Coke Zero Sugar might be the best Coke ever.
That's right, Jim. With an improved taste and 0 calories, make sure... Jim.
Ooh, yes, this tastes like the best Coke ever to me.
We're on the air.
I need to try it first.
With zero sugar and now even more delicious, is the new Coca-Cola Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? Find out for yourself.
Having problems keeping your equipment up and running? Downtime definitely hurts your bottom line and your time frame on getting the job done. United Rentals and Bowling Green can help with rentals now and on-site regular maintenance and repair service. With a field service repair tech on hand, you'll be back on the job sooner. Broken down equipment means losing time and money. United Rentals Repair Service can come to you, or you can drop it by 203 Scotty's Way. Looking to buy? United Rentals and Bowling Green has over 100,000 new and used pieces of equipment ready to purchase for your business. From small hand tools to large dump trucks and excavators. Let United Rentals of Bowling Green help you keep moving on your project, big or small. United Rentals of Bowling Green at 203 Scotty's Way in Bowling Green across from Warren East High School. Contact United Rentals of Bowling Green at 270-796-3737. That's 270-796-3737.
At Don Franklin, we're more than a group of car dealerships. We're hardworking, everyday people of Kentucky. We strive daily to give 110% to our customers, our employees, and our families. We are committed to providing everyone with a safe and reliable vehicle, and we continue our tradition of supporting our local communities. At all 24 dealerships across Kentucky, we will treat you like family. Don Franklin Family of Dealerships, we are Kentucky.
Are you looking for a career or maybe a new direction in your life? Talk to your local U.S. Army recruiter. He or she can introduce you to a whole new world of opportunities, money for your education, travel, and much more. Stop by the Bowling Green U.S. Army Recruiting Station at 1600 Campbell Lane or call us at 270-782-2769. You can also check us out online at goarmy.com. We're looking for you to join us. Attention propane customers. Has your existing provider been hard to reach? Have you had questions that haven't been answered or experienced long wait times and been asked to reply and send emails for customer support? Don't waste any more of your time. Southern States Co-op in Bowling Green will take your call. They will even swap out your existing tank with no charge for removing your current tank. Southern States of Bowling Green is ready to serve your propane needs in Bowling Green and surrounding counties because empty is never an option.
Back to the South Lawn and Topper Tailgate on ESPN 102.7.
Back with you here on Topper Tailgate on ESPN Radio 102.7, the ESPN 102.7 app, and on the ESPN Radio 102.7 Facebook page. I think this is the first time we've had two guests at once here on Topper Tailgate. Lexi, we've had two people sitting beside there. I know when Coco Darden got here to be special guest picker, he just walked up and sat there.
He got here early, and he wanted to get a little taste of it before he was up here. But no, it's so fun to have both you guys, and you kind of both look like we all have blonde hair, you know?
You know.
We got oh my goodness.
Be
we
the
got
first.
A full squad.
Yeah. Awesome. I love it. Well, you guys are both working with WKU. Can you kind of tell me about your positions and what you guys do day to day?
Yeah, so for me, I am a senior women administrator, and I also oversee student-athlete development. And so I have more of an administrative role. I also oversee women's basketball and softball. But I also oversee student-athlete development, which the department is these two right here. So it's only just a small department, but I'm very glad that it is a department. So just making sure that student-athletes have a really good experience while they're here, and just try and develop them and get them ready for the real world afterwards.
Awesome.
So going off of that, I'm Director of Student Athlete Career Development. So I help our athletes with the Hilltopper Climb programming. Day to day, it's meeting with athletes, just really helping them prep for life beyond the hill and helping them decide what they want to do and creating a plan for how to get there.
Now, that Hilltopper Climb program was something that was new, and I've been able to talk to several people about it. So, and I'll ask this to both of you, but Mackenzie, we'll start with you. What was that process like of WKU planning this out, and they reach out to you, and it's like, hey, can you head this thing? Can we get this thing rolling? What was that whole process like?
So I started in May, And the process was originally just with the football team, and then we decided to open it up to all student athletes. I just kind of used my experience as a former student athlete. I used my experience working in the SEC and just kind of put my student athlete hat on and what I would have needed when I was a student athlete here. And then just kind of transformed what I've known in the SEC to fit student athletes here.
And why do you think there's such a need for student athlete development, beyond just playing a sport?
There's definitely a need. Our student athletes here, student athletes everywhere. I experienced this when I was a student athlete. You're so focused on your sport day to day. You're so booked and busy with your sport, practice, training, classes, academics, all of that. So having a specific program and a specific person or people to help you kind of think beyond what your sport is, there's a big need for it, because I think there's a big identity crisis for athletes when they finish their sport and they don't really have that plan. I experienced that myself. So just having people in full-time roles to help start those conversations and to have athletes to begin to think about their life post-sports, I think is super important.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but once your sport ends, you're like, what do I do now?
Well, Gina, as you mentioned, small department, you guys just working together to make this happen, and you two are working with a lot of student athletes. As you mentioned, the program has been expanded to bring in as many student athletes as possible. As you look at this new initiative with the Hilltopper Climb program, what was the short-term game plan with this, and then the long-term in terms of expanding what this department has been managing to do already, which is incredible with just you two doing it?
Yeah, so we originally had this department as just focusing on football the first year, just because we have 350 student athletes. Football is 100 of those,
yes.
So it takes a huge chunk of it. So having this department be so new, we didn't know how long it would take to get in front of all those 100 student athletes, kind of get it acclimated. Mackenzie accomplished majority of that this summer, and she said, I'm ready for all student athletes. And I said, let's go. Let's do this, So now we got in front of all of our student athletes and all the players and all the teams before the semester started, and got all the coaches on board. So we originally had a slow plan for this, and then we hired Mackenzie, and she said, I want the whole thing, and I said, let's do this. So it was perfect timing. We couldn't have hired a better person for this position, and both of us were former student athletes, so we really have that mindset of having that last semester of your senior year, having that, oh my gosh, what am I about to do when I graduate here and not be a student athlete? So we really bounce ideas off each other really well.
Yeah, and you can probably relate to the student athletes so much, like you guys said. What has the response been from the student athletes?
In response to
all of these programs and opportunities you have for them.
You want to talk about that?
I think the response has been incredible. I think our student athletes are already super bought in. Originally, when I got here, I kept talking about the buy-in. It's going to be a slow process, and it is. It's a slow process for a new program, no matter what it is. But student athletes, just by word of mouth, have already reached out to set up meetings with me. It really just takes one student athlete to find success in the programming and just to communicate that with their teammates. And I think the response has been incredible so far.
Both of you have mentioned that you're former college athletes, so quickly, each of you give us a little bit of the rundown of what the college careers look like for Gina and Mackenzie.
Oh, jeez. You want to start?
The beginning response to that, Lexi, did you notice that they were both a little hesitant?
Oh, my gosh.
I feel like I'm old and washed up now. I played softball at the University of Delaware.
Okay.
Played there for 4 years. I was a catcher and an outfielder. I tore my ACL my junior year, and then I was in the outfield for life after that. But it was good. It was a really good experience. I'm originally from Chicago, and then I went out to the East Coast for school, and here I am in Kentucky. So
I love hearing that because I'm from Wisconsin.
So I played volleyball at the University of Kentucky.
Okay.
I played from 2015 to 2018, originally from Louisville, so I've literally never left the state. I absolutely loved my experience there. I had some injuries as well. And then, like I said, I had that experience of focusing so much on my sport, and then graduated. Volleyball is a fall sport. So graduated, finished volleyball, and graduated in the same semester. And it was a big slap in the face of reality. So that kind of shaped my passion for this programming.
So, Mackenzie, that exhibition for WKU volleyball to start this season, who were you cheering for.
WKU.
And be honest with us. Did you ever find yourself, like, if there was a point for you, did you ever, like, start to clap and then kind of just have to sit on your hands a little bit?
I love my Kentucky volleyball family, 100%, but absolutely was cheering for the Tops. I love Travis Hudson. He's a great guy, great program, so 100% cheering for the Tops during that match.
Right answer.
And Gina is a former softball player. How special was it for you to get to watch the run that this WKU softball team went on this past week?
Oh, it was awesome. I was super envious. Delaware was not that good in our conference. We were always top four. We would make the conference tournament, but we had some powerhouses of Hofstra and James Madison in our conference, and we just could never get past them. So having our student athletes be able to experience the NCAA championships and NCAA regionals, that's just an awesome experience. And not all student athletes are able to do that. I wasn't able to do that as one, so having them appreciate their experience there was great. I'm so happy for them.
Yeah. That is so awesome. You guys are so happy for all the student athletes. You can kind of like relive your time. And with all these programs and opportunities, what do you hope the outcome is with all the student athletes?
I mean, I hope ideally we could give all of our student athletes jobs after this, right? I mean, that's the ultimate goal. In the perfect world, yes. But obviously, everyone has different goals. Some people want to go back to school in grad school or go to PT school or anything, and some people want to go into professional sports and they want to go pro in their sport. And we're here to help them no matter what their path is. If they want to be a doctor, if they want to be an arborist, or whatever it is, we are here to help guide them to wherever they want to go after. It could say in Bowling Green, they can go to California, they can go overseas, whatever it is, we're here to help them. So,
well, I think there's a big game happening tonight, and I know you guys aren't our special guest pickers, but I'll still let you get some input on it because you work so closely with this WKU football team. So, how do you guys see this one playing out tonight? What's the feel you're getting? I'll let both of you give maybe not a score pick, but a little bit of a prediction for how you see things playing out.
I think this will be a really tight game. I think it'll be we'll score, they'll score, and back and forth. I think ultimately we will be on top.
Good pick.
It's the first conference game for
Big
both
Red
teams.
agrees, by the way.
Yeah, Big Red is watching every word you say.
I would really be safe here. Okay.
Yes. I think it'll be really close. I think Tops will be on top, like always, but both our teams are 0-0 right now. Like, it's first game of conference, so I think we'll come out on top.
All right, Mackenzie, what you feeling?
I would totally agree. I think it's going to be super intense. I think the competition's going to be great. Obviously, like Gina said, it's 0-0 in conference, so it's going to be a big game, but Tops on top always.
We love it. Love to hear it.
Gina and Mackenzie have already put a little pressure on our special guest picker, Tim Ford. Those were some great breakdowns of this game tonight. I didn't know we were getting that kind of analysis. Jared, we could just boot Jared and have them on every week.
Replace him, yeah. I don't think you'd be too happy with that.
You guys were fantastic. Really appreciate you guys taking the time to come on. I always love when we get to hear more of what's going on behind the scenes in WKU athletics and going on just the football program, the big 3 or 4 programs, and diving into all of it because I know there's so much work that you guys do and there's so much work that goes into this. I appreciate, again, you guys coming on, but also all of that work you guys are putting in. Hopefully, they'll add some people to that staff so it's not just you two, but I know you guys are doing just fantastic work and the future is so bright for this program.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll take our final break. When we come back, Lexi, it's time. That special guest picker we mentioned, Tim Ford, stops by. WKU UTSA tonight, kickoff at 6. The broadcast about to start at 5 o'clock. We'll be with you until then here on Topper Tailgate on ESPN Radio 102.7, the ESPN 102.7 app, and the ESPN Radio 102.7 Facebook page.
Fansville, a college football utopia. Fansville. Where the lakes are stocked with ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Where the night sky is tinted with the amber glow of burning couches. Majestic. Rivalries run deep and bandwagoning is a third-degree felony. It's a land flowing with nacho cheese and spicy mustard, where every dispute is settled by coin toss. Tails never fails. Every backside is calloused from years of bleacher sitting. Buns of steel. And every fan, regardless of race, creed, or alma mater, deserves the rich flavor of Dr. Pepper. Delicious. These are loyal folk who stay true to their coach through thick and thin. Mostly thick. Who lift their Dr. Peppers high and proudly proclaim, "This is our year," even though it probably isn't. But maybe it is. fans. Return to glory this season with Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
The one fans deserve.
Grab some today.
At Don Franklin, we're more than a group of car dealerships. We're hardworking, everyday people of Kentucky. We strive daily to give 110% to our customers, our employees, and our families. We are committed to providing everyone with a safe and reliable vehicle, and we continue our tradition of supporting our local communities. At all 24 dealerships across Kentucky, we will treat you like family. Don Franklin Family of Dealerships, we are Kentucky.
Are you looking for a career or maybe a new direction in your life? Talk to your local U.S. Army recruiter. He or she can introduce you to a whole new world of opportunities, money for your education, travel, and much more. Stop by the Bowling Green U.S. Army Recruiting Station at 1600 Campbell Lane or call us at 270-782-2769. You can also check us out online at goarmy.com. We're looking for you to join us.
It's summer. That means relaxing and sipping a drink next to the pool or barbecuing out with the buds, right? Not if you have a lot of projects to take care of. Get the right equipment for home or commercial projects with United Rentals of Bowling Green Summer Sale. Looking to buy? United Rentals of Bowling Green has over 100,000 new and used pieces of equipment ready to purchase for your home or business. From small hand tools to large dump trucks and excavators. Let United Rentals of Bowling Green help you keep moving on your project, big or small. If United Rentals doesn't have what you are looking for, they will find it for you. United Rentals of Bowling Green has a big inventory of equipment in stock and ready to buy or rent. United Rentals of Bowling Green at 203 Scotty's Way, across from Warren East High School. Contact United Rentals of Bowling Green at 270-796-3737. That's 270-796-3737. Back to the South Lawn and Topper Tailgate on ESPN 102.7.
Back with you here on Topper Tailgate on ESPN Radio 102.7. Wrapping things up on this Dr. Pepper game day, and we're joined by our special guest picker who was just telling us, we got to dive right into this, Lexi.
I know. I'm still
Ford
cracking
with us,
up.
Played football here on the Hill from 79 to 81, was a first-team All-American, was a first-team academic All-American. He's a W Club Hall of Famer, All-Century team member, you name it. He's done it, but maybe the most important thing, Tim, is you got to be around for when we got to see the first of Big Red here on the Hill. You got to see the origins of Big Red.
I did. I think I had somewhat of a contentious relationship with Big Red because he liked to harass me when I was on the sideline trying to get some air.
Yeah,
that's taking incredible. My drinks.
Well, he's not harassing you now. He was up here. I tell he was staring a hole through Gina and Mackenzie as they were starting to give their picks.
He was particularly offensive there a minute ago.
You have to tell everyone what you just called Big Red because I'm still dying laughing from that.
Well, when he showed up, we were trying to sort of work out what he really was. I think
we still kind of are.
Really don't know, but at the time we just said, well, it looks like sort of a blood draw. So
I think at the very least that would strike fear into the teams you're playing.
Exactly.
I don't know.
So, yeah.
Be careful or you'll look like him. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. We're going to do our best.
Yeah.
Well, Tim, you and your wife, Sarah, have stayed so connected to WKU and WKU athletics. You were named WKU's Philanthropist of the Year in 2020. What is it that has kept you guys so involved over the years, not just with WKU football, but there's been so much more that you guys have been able to stay connected with here on the Hill, outside of even just athletics?
Well, I had the good fortune of getting through Western Kentucky with a degree in geology and went on from there and had a 35-year career in the oil and gas industry. And that really is what has provided what it takes to come back and give back to the school. Everything, all of my successes, I felt like I could directly relate back to either that football field and playing for Jimmy Fikes and actually a fellow over there named Bill Hape, who is our defensive coordinator at the time, and the school itself. So that's why we feel compelled to do what we do. We do try to do things for not only the football program, athletic program, College of Education, also the geology department. So we are always looking for opportunities to try and make this place better.
I love that. And kind of circling back to football, football player from 1979 to 1981. What does it feel like to be back here and watch all the games as a former player?
It really is magic because it's come so far. The perspective of really this just being a one-sided stadium. When I played, it was all grass. I think it was Bermuda or probably the same stuff we've got out there. But anyway, and to see where we are now, not only with this facility, the football facility, but the rest of the university, how it's grown, changed, altered, improved. And I think that we've got so much more ahead of us. The improvements are going to continue, and we're going to continue to build not only the football program, the academic program, and how they tie together. Very exciting times to be a Hilltopper.
Well, before we dive into our slate of games, I do want to ask you very quickly, Tim, how do you feel? We're in year 3 now, but how do you feel about Tyson Helton and the coaching staff he's been able to bring in here?
You know, this all starts with Todd Stewart, and Todd Stewart hires good people.
Oh, dude!
And he really knows talent, and he really knows quality individuals, and that's what, and that goes, of course, down the line. Tyson Helton does the same thing. So we've got a great coaching staff. I think Tyson has what it takes to get us back to that place where we were, 4, 5, 6 years ago, where we were a top 25 team, and we were knocking on the door of beating some really, really good opponents. And I think Tyson's the guy to do it. And Kitley's coming in and really giving us a charge on the offense.
We'll hear what you've got to say about this offense in just a moment. As we dive into our picks, there's been a high standard set, Tim. We've had Greg Collins, former WKU football player Coco Darden. We've had a lot of success with these picks. We've heard a lot of good info. So we'll start with
best.
Notre Dame, Virginia Tech. Notre Dame number 14 in the country. This game earlier on, and for most of the week, was an even split. Now Virginia Tech favored by 1. Who you taking?
I think that I know that it's at Virginia Tech, correct?
Yes.
So there's going to be that crowd will be crazy. However, the Notre Dame lost last week, right? I think their first loss was last week. They're going to be pretty upset, so they will be fighting Irish. I think that they come out and they barely pull this out.
Lexi, I got to cut you off here. Good pick. Great pick. That was my main reason for this one. I've even got the stat for it. Notre Dame, the last 5 years, 5-0 after a regular season loss. They don't lose much, but when they do, they come out and they win. I got Notre Dame 20-17.
And that pick will be – Maurice Crum will be happy about that pick as well.
Safe pick.
Safe pick. He won't be mad at me.
Lexi, what are you thinking?
Well, I'm sorry. I'm going to disagree. I do not think Notre Dame's offense has been clicking. Virginia Tech just doesn't make mistakes. I have Virginia Tech 23-20.
Well, 2 of us are going to hope you're wrong, at least for the sake of pride.
I think it'll be close. Either
it
way
will be.
It goes.
We've all got it as a close game.
Yeah.
Up next, one that Vegas has as close. I'm not for sure. Michigan favored by 2.5. The number 9 Wolverines undefeated on the year at Nebraska. I think 2.5 pretty favorable in that one, but how do you feel about it, Tim?
I like on this one. I don't like to go against McNamara. In fact, we have his brother playing here. But I think that you go into Nebraska and that is a hostile territory. They're gonna be, if there's a additional push from the crowd, it's going to be there, 12 or maybe 13. So I like Nebraska to upset them.
Oh goodness. All right, let me cut him off again. Not so fast, my friend.
Okay.
Not so fast. Nebraska has hung with some good teams.
They have.
They hung with Oklahoma. That was really impressive. Their 3 losses have come by a combined 18 points. They just pummeled Northwestern.
Yes.
But Michigan, you mentioned mistakes, and Notre Dame makes maybe a few. Virginia Tech doesn't make mistakes. Michigan is the only team this century to start 5-0 with 1 or less turnovers total. They don't turn the ball over at all. I don't think they give Nebraska any opportunities. The Wolverines are playing great football. Give me Michigan 31-20.
I'm also going to go with Michigan. I'm sorry.
I like an
underdog.
I like those underdogs.
Well, I'm hoping in our last game you don't like the underdog, but we'll get there in a moment.
Yeah.
LSU 3-2 on the year, reeling a bit after a loss to Auburn. They are at
underdog.
Number 16, Kentucky. They are the underdogs by 2. Kentucky favored by a couple. They just beat Florida. Got Georgia coming up next week. Tim, you feel a bit of a trap game there, or what?
Listen.
Now that one's at Kentucky, so you can't use the home field for the underdog.
No, I know. It's going to be a tough one for LSU. It's a big battle of the cats, but I think at the end of this one, the boys from the Bayou are going to come up, and they're going to be pretty fired up. And I think at the end of it, Ed Ogeron says, "Go Tigers!"
3 picks. 3 underdogs from Tim Ford and a Coach O impression. I didn't know we were getting ourselves
We're getting
into. Oh, my goodness. And we've only picked 3 games.
I know.
Lexi, what do you got?
Well, also, third time I'm going to disagree with you. I'm sorry. I'm staying with Kentucky. Close one, though, 27-24.
Well, I did it to Tim. I'll do it to you. Not so fast, my friend. Every time these two teams play, it seems to be close, especially at Kentucky. The last 2 times they played in Lexington, 2017, Kentucky beat them in 3 overtimes. Then LSU ended up winning the national championship. Then in early 2000, the Bluegrass Miracle, the Hail Mary, Kentucky's tearing down the goalpost. They lose the ball game. One of those 2 things is going to happen tonight. No goalposts are being torn down. LSU wins. Trap game for the Cats. I think they're looking ahead to Georgia. Now, if Kentucky wins this game, I'm looking at maybe a college game day situation at Georgia, SEC East on the line. I like LSU 31-27 to pull off the upset in Lexington. Tim, I like what you're thinking there.
It'll be very close, I think.
One game that, may not be close. And I just said this with Michigan, so we'll see where you go with this one. Number 1 Alabama, 5-0 on the year at Texas A&M. Coming into the year, if you just looked at the schedule, you might have thought this was going to be the regular season game of the season. A&M no longer ranked. They just lost at home to Mississippi State. Alabama favored by 18. Tim, where are you going with this?
I really am going to go out on a limb and say Alabama. I mean,
crazy, mind-blowing.
Now, do you give them the 18?
It could be double that.
Yeah.
I think if they're, Kyle Field is a. I've been there a number of times.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're coming at. They're all around you there. Yes. It is loud, and it's hard to tell if they're cheering for you or the other team. They're so loud. But I think that A&M will probably need a 12th, 13th, maybe 13th,
14th, 15th, 16th.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think the U.S. college football franchise is going to win tonight.
Lexi, what are you thinking?
I agree.
Big.
Of course, I think Texas A&M will put a few points up on the board, but
they will.
They're not going to go anywhere.
I've got Bama by 4 touchdowns, 45-17. They're just so good on both sides of the ball.
I would agree with that.
Well, last game, best game. WKU 1-3 on the year, welcoming undefeated and receiving votes. UTSA conference opener for the Tops. WKU, the favorites though tonight, favored by a field goal, was 3.5, has come down half a point. Tim, break it down.
I had Tops by 4 days ago.
I love it.
And they will be a really good team. They are very solid. Mm-hmm. That ground control, and I think the ladies mentioned earlier.
They did a great job of breaking it down.
They did, and so it makes it easy for me. But yeah, they're strong. They have that ability to pull from so many good schools in Texas.
Yeah,
I mean they're just surrounded. They're in the middle of the state, and you've got all of these universities. Plus, you have fantastic high school programs as well. So they're going to give us all we've got today. I think the defense shows up today. And we, and of course, Bailey's going to do his thing.
I think so, too. And I do think Tops will come out on top 38-34. That's my prediction.
UTSA is not giving up much on the ground. So she's got your 4 number. You said you got it earlier this week. They give up a lot in the air, though. And obviously, that's where these Tops thrive. Bailey Zappi has been excellent. The only thing that worries me about WKU, they've scored 156 points this year. And they've only scored 17 in the first quarter. Tim, I don't care what your major was. You know that doesn't quite add up. The Top's got to come out. They've got to score early.
Get off to a good early start. That's been our real Achilles heel the last few games. Really, I guess all games. The
even
other
UT
team,
Martin came out and scored a touchdown their first drive.
Exactly. So we've got to jump on them and stay there. the whole time. So looking forward to it.
We don't know what this team looks like playing with a lead yet. I think we find it out tonight. The tops jump out early. The defense can bring pressure without the pressure of being down the whole time. I like the tops, and I like them fairly big. 45-31 is my pick, WKU tonight. Tim, appreciate you coming on. I love all the underdog picks, the charisma. Fantastic job.
This has been a real pleasure for me, and thank you all for having me on. And, we're just excited about where Western Kentucky continues to go. Really excited about this program, and I'm glad you have allowed me to talk a little bit about it. And we're going to push, and go Tops.
That's a good way to end it.
Yeah, that's literally what I was just
any better. Go Tops. We got just a few seconds left. We're going to wrap things up. If you stick around at 5 o'clock, the game broadcast begins. Randy Lee, Terry Obie, Jared Holland in the booth. Lexi Schweinert will be down on the sidelines.
Yep.
We got a couple weeks off, WKU on the road, so we'll be back with you in a few weeks. Until next time, roll Tops.
Joining us on this week's Topper Tailgate, WKU's Topper Tailgate on ESPN 102.7 and ESPN 1027.com, live from Western Kentucky University, has been brought to you by Dr. Pepper, Don Franklin Glasgow, U.S. Army, Southern States Bowling Green, United Rentals of Bowling Green, and Coca-Cola. Topper Tailgate is a sports production of Commonwealth Broadcasting. Join us for Topper Tailgate before home WKU football games this season on ESPN 102.7 and ESPN 1027.com.
This is ESPN Radio 102.7 at 1450 WWKU Plum Springs and W274CD Bowling Green. ESPN Radio 102.7.
Final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark 15 seconds until airtime.
Today, we raise the red and white.
Get one-on-one coverage, a leaping drive by Burke. Holy moly! Burke makes the catch in the end zone. Over the middle. It's picked off. Here they come. Here we go. 10-5. Touchdown.
This is Hilltopper football.
From the foothills to the Appalachians to the land between the lakes. This is WKU football, the Hilltopper Sports Network from Learfield. And welcome to the Don Franklin Auto Countdown to kickoff. WKU has moved through their extremely challenging non-conference season and opens up